I think people can be scared of their own potential because they know how much work it's going to take. You can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have time to enjoy that, or you don't have time to yourself, you're poor. Abundance is always present. I always write down things that I'm grateful for that I don't have yet. I've had so many brilliant ideas for businesses and things when I've meditated. Your energy is everything. Like, fake the energy, pretend you're already in the position that you want to be in. Success, it's just made up of like loads and loads and loads of small mundane tasks.
And these mundane tasks are what got her retired at age of 23. She grew up in an entrepreneurial household with her mom as a single parent. And ever since she was a kid, things such as the law of attraction, gratitude, and energy were quite common for her. She studied nutrition and after 4 years got qualified as a nutritionist. However, breaking up after a long relationship has put her in a very unstable position, both emotionally and financially. So she decided to move to London where she would work 3 jobs whilst building her side hustle. Getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep every night was the usual routine for her at the time, yet she was more or less broke. However, her incredibly strong self-belief led her to an exciting business venture, one that allowed her to work from anywhere, anytime, and with whom she wanted. Kristen is now an inspiration for a lot of women that she helps step in their boss energy and own their potential. This podcast episode is an absolute gem, guys. We talk about why time is more important than money, how to develop a mind of abundance, how to use visualization, affirmations, and meditation to get yourself into a flow towards your goals, and much more. Last year's episode with Kristen broke all of our charts, seriously, and has got amazing feedback from you all. That's why we brought her back on this time around. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Kristen Stavridis. You are listening to The Grateful Show with your hosts Pascu
and Bogdan. Join us on our mission to spread awareness around mental health and make people feel happier and overall more grateful.
Each week, we bring you an inspiring guest, stories, and a message that will help you become your best self and pursue your life mission.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of The Grateful Show. Hope you are doing fantastic, and if you're not, you're about to be, because today we have no other than Kristen. How is it going, Kristen?
Good, excited to be on today, guys.
Pleasure to be again.
Well, for the new audience and for people that are listening for the first time to the podcast or to yourself, we just wanted to make a quick heads up. We had Kristen last year on the podcast and the episode itself had amazing feedback. So if you want to learn even more beyond this podcast, you can go to that one. It's going to be linked in the show notes. But yeah, with that said, Kristen, what are you grateful for today?
I am grateful for just the position I'm in, I guess, at the moment. I'm just super grateful for, the home I've moved into recently and the people that are around me who are so positive and literally just fill my cup up every single day. So super grateful for all of that.
Brilliant. Well, for our audience, can you just give them a brief 3 to 4 minutes introduction in where you were 3, 4, 5 years ago and where you are now?
Yes, absolutely. So I am a qualified nutritionist by trade, but I've always been kind of surrounded by entrepreneurs. I grew up in an entrepreneurial household. My mum was a single parent. She had incredible, thriving businesses and still does nowadays as well. So I always wanted to have my own time freedom and flexibility and be able to kind of work for myself. So went to university, did 4 years studying nutrition, but and then went into like a typical 9-to-5 job. Absolutely loved it. I was living in London at the time, working actually 3 jobs. This was a couple of years back, and I just always knew I didn't want to be sitting at a desk for the rest of my life working 40, 50, 60, 70 hours even a week and just trading my time for money. So I started my side business, worked really hard alongside had my other 3 jobs as well. So was getting on average like six hours sleep a night for an entire year, getting up at 5 a.m., doing my gratitude affirmation, my self-work, my gym, going to work, doing a full day of work, sometimes traveling as well for my job. And was able to then retire at 23 thanks to like my hard work and just absolute grind. So and I'm in a position now, I'm so lucky, where I work for myself, I'm my own boss, I choose my hours and everything, and I'm so passionate about kind of sharing that with other people and just educating people on all the benefits of being an entrepreneur. I think this is the generation of people just setting up their own business, discovering that there's other ways that you can earn. You don't just have to work that 9 to 5 and follow the system, this whole system of like school, university, go to work until you're 65, then retire at 65 on like your couple of savings that you've made. And I just think it's super important. So yeah, I'm an entrepreneur at the moment, and looking to set up a couple of other businesses in the future as well. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. So I'm just curious, because you said that you have 3 jobs and also you were doing your side hustle as well, but what was your motivation back then to actually do so much stuff? Why do you do everything that you have done, and why are you doing everything that you're doing at the moment?
I believe in like just having an extraordinary life. I think about this all the time. Like, we have one life. We literally have one life, and it is scary.
Hey, I apologize for breaking the flow right here, but just wanted to thank you once again for listening. And if you're a new listener, we'd highly appreciate if you could subscribe wherever you are listening or watching from, and also take a screenshot of this timestamp and post it on your IG stories. Don't forget to tag us at Grateful Show, and also tag Kristen at That Next Level Girl. And we'll not only repost this, but also make sure to connect with yourself. This way, you'll help us spread our message and impact the lives of many other incredible people. And with that said, we are super grateful for your attention. So, back to the podcast.
How quickly time flies. Like, it is just crazy. I never wanted to be average. I never wanted to just be plodding my way through life and just living an okay life that was acceptable. I wanted to have a life where it was extraordinary. I was making a difference. I had purpose. I had drive. I was impacting other people as well. So that's something that has always kind of driven me, and I have always aspired to be a successful entrepreneur, or someone who has had such an impact on the world around them. So I think that's kind of like my daily motivation. And I think I always wanted to be different. I didn't want to do what everyone else did. That's why sometimes in school and university it would get me in trouble, because I wouldn't stick to the rules. I'm a rule breaker. I don't like doing what everyone else does. So I think, my motivation was just to create that extraordinary life for myself and really just live life to the full, and inspire other people to do that as well.
Kristen, for yourself, obviously you had a lot of self-belief to start with, I'm guessing, because a lot of people, whenever they might be in a bad situation, they can only dream so much, they can only see so much that might be possible for them in the future. But for yourself, you kind of already knew that it's just a matter of time, and it's just a matter of when, not a matter of if. But I was reading, actually listening to a book this morning, I'm a badass at making money. I don't remember the author's name, but basically she was saying at the end of the book how actually deep down everyone is actually scared of what they could become, and they are scared of their light. They are not scared of their darkness or their shadow. So why do you think that's the case? Why do you think people are scared of how much more they can become in this life?
I think people can be scared of their own potential because they know how much work it's going to take and how much they're going to have to get out of their comfort zone to achieve that. So myself, like, I'm a business coach and mentor to so many different people, and I see potential in so many people, and it's such a shame when people don't have that belief in themselves. I'm very lucky. Like, I've always had wild self-belief. I know that, you know, success, money, abundance, it's all just energy. It's all energy. We are the only people that create our own limitations. There's always abundance present. But I think, yeah, people are just, they're scared of the success. Like, people are scared of making money. I think people are scared of what else is out there. And I know myself, before I kind of started my business, I didn't want to look at any other options of earning money because I was in denial. I knew deep down that it would work if I put the effort in and I could be successful, but I was living in denial that that would be the case because I was scared of getting out of my comfort zone and all the work I knew it would take to get to that level of life.
Yeah, awesome. I was just reading as well, listening actually this morning to MJ DeMarco, the guy who wrote Fast Lane Millionaire and Unscripted, and yeah, you know him. And he was saying something like, you cannot truly be happy if you don't have the freedom to actually do the stuff that you want to do, not the stuff that the system is actually telling you that you should be doing. And just wanted to ask you, because you were in a position, like you have said, a couple of years ago when you were working in a 9-to-5 job, and you said that you were happy, but can you compare the happiness from there to the happiness that you have right now? Is it the difference? Is it a big difference or not?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like I was happy-ish when I was working all my jobs, but I was exhausted, and like my health was really struggling because I was just overworking myself, and I was like killing myself in work and just trying to get everything done and stay on top of things. But I guess like the freedom now, like my day, I wake up, I do whatever I like. I can fit my work around my own schedule. So I think you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have time to enjoy that, or you don't have time to yourself, you're poor. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Like I know a lot of people, and I've you know, a lot of older people and like parents and things like that, where yes, they're very, very wealthy, but they work a job that kills them, and they work 7 days a week, and they stay, you know, they get into work at 6 a.m. and they don't leave till 10 p.m. and they're a slave to that job. They're like tied to the desk. And yes, they have a lot of cash at the end, but your health suffers. You know, your health is your wealth. Your mental health suffers as well. Most impactful, definitely. And it's just, you don't have the time to enjoy it. Whereas, you know, if you work smarter, not harder, you can still create the same abundance of wealth and money and those multiple streams of income, but you don't have to trade your time for money.
Very well pointed, because I think we are still in the middle of a transition between the whole hustle culture where you got to work 18 hours a day, eight times a week or so. And people don't really actually realize that for like 95% of the population is not sustainable and it's not realistic. I mean, myself, I've tried it a few years ago and I ended up getting very sleep deprived. I was like going to sleep at 3 a.m., waking up at 7. I had no drive. I was just dreading through the day. And yeah, it's definitely a thing that a lot of people have to go through themselves to come to the realization, whilst others can either learn from others' mistakes or else they can be open-minded and seek advice and seek mentors and seek possibilities from people that are way above them in all walks, in all areas of life. But I wanted to ask you, because you touched upon a very, I guess, interesting both word and topic, and that was abundance. What does abundance represent, and how did you get to actually believe in the term abundance yourself?
Yeah, so I've always been like, I'm very lucky where I grew up in a household where Abraham Hicks and The Secret and affirmations and gratitude, it was like such a valued thing. And I remember like going to school every morning in the car with my mom, and she wouldn't play music. She would play out Abraham Hicks, and she'd play like The Secret, and she'd play like Louise Hay. So abundance and like energies and all that sort of stuff, it was really ingrained in me as a child. And I really believe that that's why I'm so positive, and I have that belief, and I have that wild vision, and I understand like the law of attraction and energy compared to many other people who have never heard of it before. So I think I've always known that, you know, you can do anything. You can do anything. You can absolutely do anything. The only limit is your mind. There's so much abundance out there in the world. It's just a case of working hard for it and having that belief, and just allowing that energy in, and allowing that abundance in, and really like visualizing like the end goal. What is it that you want to achieve? How can you get there? And what are the daily steps and actions that you need to take every single day without fail to achieve that abundance? So yeah, like I said earlier as well, like there is no, abundance is always present. It is always present. We introduce and we create limitations in our mind by repetitive thoughts. And we have like 40, 50, 60,000 thoughts every single day. Most of them are negative, and most of them are the same thoughts that we had the day before. So it's just all about, if you want to create abundance, it's all about fine tuning your thoughts, being more conscious, things like meditation, quieting your mind, recentering yourself, and just allowing it all in, because the universe wants to provide you with all the success, abundance, health, wealth. But we as humans, we're the ones that create those limitations in our life, in our minds, and in our energies by our thoughts and our actions as well.
Completely agree with you. I was just curious, what are your daily habits that once you have started to implement, everything just started to change in your life? Because of course you gotta work hard, you gotta keep your focus on the right things, but like nobody's talking about the daily things that they have to do, which are actually the foundation of the person that you will become or you want to become. So I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so like my daily actions, like my non-negotiables are personal development. So every single day I wake up and I do a miracle morning, and I do this with my team and the people that I coach. So what that consists of is like watching a 10-minute motivational videos. So from someone like Tony Robbins or Gary Vee. So we watch that, then we write out our affirmations and say them. Gratitude list, so important. And a trick with my gratitude list is I always write down things that I'm grateful for that I don't have yet, things that I want to manifest. So let's say, you know, I will write down this morning, I'm so grateful for the multi-billion-dollar business that I have. I'm so great. And I write that again and again and again and again. And it really helps your subconscious mind manifest that. So, and then I always end my morning kind of miracle mornings with a visualization exercise. So visualizing the end goal. And I think visualization is really, really important for anyone who has that limitations in self-belief. They don't really believe things, or they find it, they're quite a realistic person. They don't really visualize it a lot. It is really helpful to kind of sit and visualize through a guided meditation, visualize the end goal, what you're trying to achieve, and kind of live through that experience in your mind. And I feel like, you know, getting really specific with those details, it really helps you solidify and have clarity on what you want and what you're trying to create. So miracle mornings are something that I do every single day without fail. I always listen to podcasts, I read as well. And I was still doing this when I was working 70 hours a week, guys. I was still doing this. There is absolutely no excuses. Like, we all have 24 hours a day. If you tell me that you don't have 15 minutes to write a gratitude list, affirmations, and like do a visualization, then you're lying, because we all have 15 minutes to do that. Like, I mentor and I coach people who have like 4 kids that are doing like law degrees, that are studying medicine or working part-time, and like, you know, other jobs and things like that, and they still have time to do this. Like, we just have to get over our own excuses. But I think that those type of practices for anyone, even if you're not doing a business, even if you are, you know, you're not running a business, you're not trying to do anything extraordinary, it's still important for you to work on your mindset and grow yourself as a person.
Very well pointed. I think it's probably about time that a lot of people are waking up to the fact that it's not all just about the physical actions that we take, but in fact, there is an energy that you already talked about. And I think Napoleon Hill has been one of the first people to make this notion of infinite intelligence. And basically the way he portrays it is that when you take control of your consciousness, you basically rewire your subconscious. And when you rewire your subconscious, you let your subconscious basically be accessed by the infinite intelligence. That's why sometimes people listening, you are in the shower not thinking about anything, or you are just walking somewhere not thinking or doing anything, and just an idea just pops in your mind from like nowhere, or like you're basically just writing something or doing something creatively. Suddenly you have a great idea that you're like, where did this come from? And it's most possibly not your own idea, but it's an idea that has been put there by the infinite intelligence or the universe, or call it whatever. So I think it's about time for people to actually don't call all of these things woo woo or unrealistic, or yeah, it's just about working hard. And yeah, I'm glad that we are touching upon each of these topics, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, like, whatever you believe in, like, if you are believing in Abraham Hicks or whatever, and she talks about the vortex, or like, the source energy, or getting into alignment, or getting into flow. Like, I know myself, I've had so many brilliant ideas for businesses and things when I've meditated. I just quieted my mind. I'm not overthinking. I'm not in that like resistant, stressful state, because the universe, it does not like that energy. It's not going to provide you with any abundance or any ideas or any positive energy if you're in that kind of resistive state. It's all about your energy. We talk about this all a lot, like myself and my friends, like getting into flow, get into the vortex, get into that like that energy where you are allowing abundance in. And like I said, we're the only people that can create limitations. The universe or energy or whatever you believe in does not create limitations. We are the ones to create that, because again, our minds are so powerful.
Completely agree. You have touched upon affirmations, and I'm really curious, because let's say that somebody is just exercising affirmations, and like they do not truly believe the words that they are saying, the affirmations that they are saying. Let's say, I'm fat, but I want to become fit. And I'm repeating in my mind or out loud or whatever, I am fit, I am healthy, but they don't truly believe it. Is this going to work? Is it the case?
Yeah, so this is something I actually explored around a year ago. I was talking to a lot of kind of mental coaches and ambassadors and people who are really successful entrepreneurs about this, because I went through a period of time where I was doing affirmations and I was like, I don't believe this. Like, this is just like, so I was asking them, like, if I'm saying these affirmations and I don't believe them, what should I do? And they were saying, if you're doing affirmations and you just, while you're saying them, you just don't believe them, it actually creates a lot more resistance in your energy than it does in terms of productivity and making you feel good. So if you find that you're doing affirmations and you're getting that like energy where you're like, oh my God, like obviously not, this is ridiculous, like I don't believe in them, affirmations only tend to work if you do actually believe in what you're saying. So what I do then, instead of what I did then, was I just replaced those kind of big wild affirmations and big like kind of far-fetched goals with goals that were a little bit more smaller, broke them down a little bit, and made them a little bit more realistic, but still effective. Okay.
Wait, did she just say realistic? I thought I had to dream big. No, but in all seriousness, guys, please do apply this advice whenever you decide to start doing your own affirmations. If you've made it this far, well, congrats! It shows that you are really determined in empowering yourself and changing your life. You're about halfway through now, and if you're enjoying this episode so far, please consider giving us a 5-star rating review on iTunes. This will not only encourage us massively, I really mean it, but will also help us reach more people and change even more lives for the better. And with that said, thank you so much for listening. Back to the amazing Kristen.
So like, I know right now, if you are like literally scraping the barrel, you have no income, and you're standing in the mirror every single day going, I'm a multi-billionaire, like, and you just don't believe it. Like, it's not going to create that abundance. So what affirmations can you replace that with that are maybe a little bit more realistic, that are going to make you feel empowered, not like this is just absolute BS. So it is important that you do kind of believe your affirmations. And if you don't believe them, change them, and make them reflect the daily actions that you need to take over time to get to that goal as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And this idea just popped into my mind because obviously by doing affirmations, you kind of have to not necessarily fake it until you make it, but you have to, let's say, fake it in your mind, or portray yourself doing or being the person who you want to become until you become that person. And a lot of people are just saying that, even though it's cliche, that fake it until you make it, it's not necessarily the best solution to reaching your, I don't know, your potential. What would you say about that?
Yeah, like I agree and I don't agree with this. To be honest with you, like when I started my business, I was faking it till I made it every single day. And I moved so quickly. I was like, just became successful so quickly because I was acting so much as that higher self that I actually morphed into that person so quickly, because I like brainwashed myself into believing that like I was really successful. I had loads of clients. I had loads of customers. I was, driving this amazing car, blah, blah, blah. And I was eating porridge oats every day, like, just like drinking tap water. I had like no money for food, bills or anything. But I literally was like, when I was speaking to clients and when I was going to like events and things like that, people just were like, oh my God, she's like really successful, isn't she? Who's that girl? Like I just had that energy. So not only did I convince myself, but I convinced everyone else. And then I attracted in abundance, and I attracted in all these amazing people, scenarios and opportunities. So I actually do believe it is a good way. It depends how you're doing it. Obviously, like don't lie to people, but it's your energy is what I'm talking about. Your energy is everything. Like fake the energy, pretend you're already in the position that you want to be in. And like something that I used to do is when I was like, starting out my business and I was still really nervous and I still didn't know what I was doing and everything. I was like so broke. On my days off, like instead of working my business in like a little cheap Starbucks or Costa Coffee around the corner from me in Oval in London, I like would dress up, I put on my nice clothes, I get the train into central London, and I'd sit in the Ritz. And I'd sit there and I'd, buy a drink, buy a coffee and work in the Ritz instead. And it just like, I felt so successful. I felt like such a boss, like such a CEO. So things like that, like just getting into that energy and like living that life already, things like that. Like, and the cost of a coffee between Costa and the Ritz, it was like an extra £1.50 or something. So, those type of things and really putting yourself in those scenarios and getting yourself into that energy is a great way of like faking it till you make it, and can actually convince yourself and get you into those situations as well. So that's what I would say.
I think it helps a lot with like an identity shift, because obviously it's well known already that everything starts from within and it all starts with yourself. Therefore, as you mentioned, if you manage to actually convince yourself that you are already there, well, it's just a matter of time of convincing other people. Because if you I guess put that energy out, as you were mentioning earlier, people will only see that energy and that energy alone. While supposed on the other side, if you're this successful CEO but you're just so pissed off everything, you are like full of resentment, people will feel that and they're gonna be, is this guy okay? Like, is he doing well? Is he like sleeping well and all that? And I think it's like a double-edged sword. But I would like to think that it helps more than it damages somebody's character and identity, to be honest. Because at the end of the day, for some people, it might sound outrageous or unrealistic to wake up in the morning and do all of these, I guess, millionaire morning routines. But at the same time, they would rather just wake up and have some chocolate and I don't know, listen to some Cardi B and like do all the other unproductive things for the first 2 hours of their day. And after that, everything is just gonna be a mess in their day, in their week, in their life overall. And they don't see that those small things actually add up, and that those small things eventually make their whole life, to be honest.
Yeah, I always say that like success it's just made up of like loads and loads and loads of small mundane tasks. And this is really what it's a book I'm reading at the moment called Grit. And Grit is such a brilliant book for just breaking down what it takes to be successful. Like, and it talks about how the word talent, oh, they're so talented. It's just such a lie. Like, there is no such thing as talent. Anyone who has been successful in anything in life is just been resilient and had that grit and just kept going. Like, you know, and a lot of the general public, they like to use the word talent. Again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, they like to use the word, oh, they're so talented, so that they don't have, because they're in denial, because they know that they probably couldn't get to that level of success, but they just don't want to face up to that fact. So they just say, oh, they're really good at that because they're so talented, or they make up excuses for that person. So many people have said this to me before, like, oh, well, you have loads of Instagram followers, or you're successful because you look this way, or you're Irish, or like just like all these excuses.
It's always something, right?
It's like, or you live in London, or you live here, or you're a nutritionist, or like, there are all these excuses that people make up for other people's success, where in actual fact, it's just hard work. I have worked my butt off the last 2 years. I have not had a day off, not one day off, because I truly love what I do and I understand the hustle and what it takes. And I know that a day off my business and what I'm doing can take it back an entire month. So why would I want to jeopardize all that hard work and success that Kristen, the version of me 2 years ago, worked so hard to kind of achieve? So it's just literally success and getting to the top is just a series of mundane tasks, boring tasks, repetitive stuff, rejection every single day, and you just have to keep going.
Completely agree with
it's
you.
Like the same. Sorry,
no,
I wanted to touch upon this. It's just like that saying that it took me 25 years to be an overnight success. So it's just it's just the same thing.
Yeah.
Go on, Bogdan.
Yeah, changing a little bit the subject, I'm just curious. What would you say? Can material stuff make you happy, like truly happy, or not really?
No, like, you know, I built to a level of success where I have all this stuff and it's great. And like, yes, like I feel empowered and I feel powerful, but I think your true happiness, it just has to come from within. Like, there's days where I have everything and I have all the money in the bank and I have all the nice clothes and I have the car and I have the house, all that sort of stuff, but I have like really low days. But then there's days where I wake up and I feel amazing, and it's all connected to my inner dialogue on myself and everything. So true happiness comes from you. But you know, going on holidays a couple of times a year and having like the nice thing, it does help. Not gonna lie, it does help. But you know, deep down, long-term happiness, it comes from yourself. Like they always say, you never see like luggage at the back of a hearse. You can't be taking all your material things to the next life. You know, you bring your soul and your happiness and your life experiences. That's what matters.
I think it's like the same thing that goes something like, money cannot buy happiness, but it gives you option. Therefore, if you have more option, you have more freedom. Therefore, that freedom creates happiness that is happiness for you, because for some people might be different things.
Yeah.
Kristen, I'm just curious because you're this highly energy person and you just seem really happy, and I know you are, like deep inside of you, but what's one thing that you would currently change about yourself or about the things that you do that you don't necessarily like?
I think I tend to like overthink, or I play like scenarios over my head again and again and again. So even though I'm like this really positive, energetic, high energy person, I still do get affected by like negativity and like haters or like a negative comment. And like, if you're doing well, you're always going to get that. And I do so much personal development. I work on myself every single day, but I do get affected by the negativity or like a negative comment or someone being nasty online. And we see that all the time. Like, there's just so many people that are online just out to get each other, especially I've seen this so much on TikTok and everything too recently. So like, I do get affected by that negative energy and stuff. So that's something I'm working on at the moment, is just being even more resilient than I am now, and just not letting the negativity or like the Debbie Downers kind of get me down, because at the end of the day, I always say to people, hurt people hurt people. The only person who's going to say something negative or try and bring someone down, especially over the internet, they're obviously just not happy in themselves deep down. So they're passing on and they're continuing that cycle of hurt. Whereas I always like to say, break the cycle. If someone's nasty to you, our reaction is to like go and hurt someone else and pass on that energy. Whereas if you break the cycle, if you get hurt, you work on yourself so much, you're breaking the cycle and you're stopping that cycle of negativity and hurt and like all that kind of bad energy getting passed on to the next person. So it's our responsibility. If we're getting if we're getting all that negativity, if we're getting people that try and pull us down, it's just our responsibility. Break the cycle, work on yourself so much that you just brush it off and you don't let it affect you.
Very powerful, very powerful. And especially for the people that believe that, yeah, well, this is messed up, the climate change, this, that, the pandemic, the other, and they just think that they are this, I guess, person that cannot really do much. Well, really think about what Kristen has just said, that maybe somebody comes at you, they are in pain, they are frustrated, and they're just trying to hurt you. And instead of like hurting them back, you just respond with love or just with compassion. That person is going to feel that, and maybe they're not going to be in a way better place, but maybe they're not going to hurt another person. Therefore, you just broke that chain. And by doing just this small action that is different from like what majority of people would do, you are just making the world a better place. And I think it's all about this, because at the end of the day, yes, you cannot change like 7 billion lives, but you can change a couple, and those couple can change another couples. And sooner or later, within a few years, you change like dozens of people's lives just through your actions and just through your, I guess, mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I always say to people, kill them with kindness. If someone is negative or rude or trying to bring you down or doubt your abilities to be successful or whatever they're doing, kill them with kindness. It's just like, it takes the same amount of energy to be kind to someone than it does to like be negative or rude. And when you're negative, rude, or hurtful to someone, it's damaging your own soul. It's not going to help you feel better. It's actually in the long run. And then I truly believe in karma as well. Like, karma, what goes around comes around. If you put that negative energy out there, you're just going to get it back at a later stage. So save that negative energy and go and just spread that kindness and love and build people up. Even if, they're being rude and they're attacking you, love them for where they are, because again, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so true. And I feel like you just have to be aware of how reactive you are, because if someone is just telling you something that you don't necessarily agree with, if let's say you didn't get enough sleep, or you didn't meditate, you tend to respond in a negative way as well. But if your head is in the right place, I mean, you're not as reactive, and you can actually think about the next steps or the next words that you are about to say. So yeah, I'm just curious about what's your take on meditation and how people should approach it.
Yeah, so I obviously, because I have so much energy all the time, I find it quite difficult to like get into meditation, because obviously it's about like quieting your mind and like calming down and not thinking about anything. And I'm just like 100% all the time, like woo, a million different thoughts, like everything all at the same time. So getting into meditation, I was like, I just can't do this. Like, I cannot sit still for 5 minutes and just not do anything. Like, like my mind just wanders off and I get up and do something else. So meditation and being able to meditate is actually a skill you have to practice. It's not like, the people that meditate for like 4 hours, they just decide they're going to meditate for 4 hours and then they're able to do it. Like, they build up and up and up and up. So the skill of meditation is something that I built up over time. Like it's something that I practice every single day. And even if you are high energy like me and you have a million and one things to do, even just meditating and even just doing a guided meditation first to kind of get yourself into that energy and building up to being able to meditate with like no music, no sounds, just like a quiet mind, it's so powerful. Just for like recentering yourself as well. If you're feeling overwhelmed, stressed out, a lot of the time what I'll do is I will go into YouTube and like type in like a healing frequency or a chakra cleansing frequency or like an abundance frequency, and just like reset myself, focus on just one sound, one frequency, and I feel so refreshed and able to actually think straight. Whereas before, if I was getting stressed and overwhelmed and then I had to go handle a situation, my thoughts are all over the place and stressed out, like I'm not thinking straight. So it actually does help your productivity, your efficiency, and your level of work when you're able to just go meditate, think about something properly, clearly, like just control your mind, and then get up and go and do whatever it is that you need to do, because you will be able to do it in a much better way.
Definitely. I would personally argue that if someone works for 3 hours without meditating and there's another person that works for just 2 hours and meditates, I would say that they are probably getting the same amount of work done in like different amounts of time, mainly because when you meditate, you have that clarity and you are able to actually control thoughts. When you have like a million thoughts a second and you're like, I want to do this, I want to open this tab, I'm working in this software, let me send this email. At some point, you're going to be so overwhelmed. You started doing 7 things, you ran out of time, you haven't finished any, and you're just going to feel resentment towards yourself. Whilst if you are more mindful of the things that you are doing, like even look, an exercise for the audience listening, when you are eating, probably majority of you listening right now, and I'm guilty of this myself, you are not just eating, you are either watching a video, you're either listening to like a podcast, maybe music, maybe you're talking over the phone. Just try maybe once every 2 days, once every 3 days, have a meal and just don't do anything else, just eat and enjoy the food. And you'll see how that mindfulness will then, I guess, connect with other activities that you do. It will connect with times when you have to speak to a client. It will connect to other times when you'll have to be way more, I guess, present and connected with the other person. But speaking of all of this and like meditation and gratitude, I think it's worth asking you, Kristen, because you've been through so many things already. What is one event that you are very grateful for and why?
I think I'm most grateful for like the harder times in my life, because they've made me like who I am today. So like the times where I had like literally no money and was forced to be resourceful and like change that and get up and like go and find a job or set up a business or like change something in my life, or like I don't even know, like a breakup I had like 4 years ago. It was like at the time the worst thing that ever happened to me. I was like left in such a bad financial state, and like it was just awful. Like my mental health was like just the worst it's ever been. It was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it made me who I am today. It made me so independent, and so it was the thing that got me into back into affirmations, gratitude, law of attraction, because I'd forgotten that for so long. It was the thing that made me like move cities, go down to London, and given me the opportunities I have today. So sometimes the worst things that can happen to you, yes, they're terrible, but be grateful for them, because it's the universe giving you something, putting a spanner in the works to tell you something needs to change. Like, yeah. And you learn the most about yourself and about life and everything from the times where it's harder. You don't learn anything when everything's easy and everything's going right. You don't learn anything from those situations. You don't get out of your comfort zone. When things are going wrong, that's what builds your character, your resilience, and helps you become a lot more resourceful. So that's definitely a bit of a funny answer, but I think that's what I'm kind of most grateful for.
Yeah, to be honest, I think we have a pattern here, because the majority of people that came on this show and we have asked the same question, majority of people just said that they are most grateful for not necessarily the bad experiences, but for the hard times that they had. And I mean, you can truly see that you have to enjoy, not necessarily enjoy, but you got to be mindful where whatever situation you are going through, that if it's a bad situation, if you are struggling, that will shape you into becoming a better person and a better self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like it builds your character, it builds your resilience, it builds, I guess, your values as well. Like it really, I think when sometimes if you lose everything, or if you lose things that you were maybe taking for granted before, it makes you learn a lesson. It makes you actually understand that, you know, you need to be grateful for things. You need to be grateful for all the little things in life. And the more grateful you are and the more positive energy you put towards something, the more the universe is going to give it back to you and provide that for you.
Definitely. Kristen, what do you want to be remembered for or as long after you pass?
I want to be remembered for someone who has kind of like really fostered relationships and values for women. So I'm really big into like female empowerment and helping women in particular discover their own potential and show them how powerful they are. So I think, you know, something like that where I've built maybe a legacy for women who are able to follow my path and actually discover, you know, I am powerful, I am amazing, I can do all these incredible things. Just because I live in a small town or I'm like everyone else around me it doesn't mean anything. You know, anyone can be successful. And I think like my purpose in life really, and something I've really discovered in the last couple of months, is helping women step into that power and leveling up. And that's something when I see women do that because of maybe they've listened to my podcast or I've mentored them or they follow my social media or they learn something, that's the thing that I value the most. Yeah, okay, the money and all that sort of stuff, it's great, but that's what I really thrive from, seeing people kind of level up because maybe I've taught them something or inspired them or influenced them.
Beautiful. Again, I think it's a pattern with the majority of the guests that we had. Majority of them, 95%, just want to be remembered for the impact that they had rather than the things they left behind. Just the amount of lives they changed through the way that I guess they lived and through the values that they followed and through the things that they had to, I guess, face and accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think impact is definitely the word there. It's something that I think we all really understand. We want to leave an impact. We want to have a legacy left behind us. You know, I think like we truly die when our name was spoken last on this earth, you know, not when we pass over. So building that legacy and being someone who's inspired others to live their best life or get healthier or discover their own potential, that's what's meaningful. Not the money, not the cars, not the whatever. It's what you've left behind you is what is important.
I mean, one thing is for sure, Kristen, and for people listening, this podcast right here is probably a little fragment from each of us legacy, probably like 100 years ago when the technology is going to be way more advanced. Someone somewhere might be interested to check this podcast out and they're going to be like, wow.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. That's a great thing about the internet. Like, you know, this podcast and websites or, you know, whatever you're doing, if it's online, blogs, websites, whatever, it's there forever. It's amazing. So you can inspire someone if you create something, if you create a podcast, a website or something like that, and you post it today, someone in 100, 200, 300 years could be inspired by that. So I guess that's one of the great advantages and benefits of this online world that we live in nowadays.
Yeah, it's like a big library.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kristen, changing a little bit the subject. I was just curious. Obviously, it's subjective for everyone, but what would you say that is the meaning of life?
God, that's a hard question. You know what? Like I'm still kind of discovering that myself. I think I've had a lot of kind of spiritual shifts in the last year in particular, and I think we all have with lockdown and coronavirus, because we've been forced to stop. We've been forced to like stop, you know, chill out, reflect, most importantly. So I think, again, that word impact and actually living life to the fullest and actually helping others, that's the meaning of life. We're not here on this planet to just, I don't know, like wear nice clothes and have 100 likes on our selfie. Like, you know, who cares? The meaning of life is to, I guess, leave the world in a better place than you found it. And that doesn't have to be massive, big changes, that can be small little things that each and every person on this planet does. It amounts to a lot.
I think it's worth noting for the audience as well. Remember that we are just spiritual beings having a human experience or a physical experience. So never forget that when you hear anything that might sound a bit woo.
Yeah, exactly. And like, we are tiny little specks in this massive universe. So that's what I always think whenever I worry about like something really insignificant and I get myself worked up about it. I'm like, I am literally this like tiny speck in this massive universe. This problem is so relevant and I probably won't even remember it next week. So there's no point in sitting here worrying about it and putting some negative energy towards something that it probably won't even happen either. Most of our worries, 99% of the time, they don't even end up happening or manifesting. So there's no point putting so much energy into them.
I think Seneca himself said that man suffers more in imagination than in reality, because obviously we are, I guess, victims of our own thoughts and scenarios and what could go wrong and what I could fail or not accomplish or so on and so forth.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, awesome. Kristen, again, it has been a pleasure for us. And before we let you go, just wanted to ask you again the same question that we have asked you 1 year approximately ago. And like you said, people change, we change, mentality change. So maybe your answer will change as well. So just take your time on this. So imagine that you are on your deathbed and you're just about to die, but right before you die, the best version of yourself just comes right next to you and you see and comprehend what you could have become. How would you feel about yourself in that specific moment?
I think I would feel good because like I kind of said at the start of this, I put so much value and emphasis on that thing, like that we only have one life and like time moves so quickly and we have so much potential. The only limiting factor is ourselves. So I used to be scared of doing things. I used to be scared of, living my best life and getting out of my comfort zone and speaking to those people and like putting myself forward. I don't get scared anymore, really, of just getting out of my comfort zone because I understand that we have one life. And I always do that type of practice where I will sit and like meditate or visualize my higher self, and I will literally pretend like my higher self or that version of myself in 80 years time is standing behind me looking at me now, and I want to make that person proud. So I think if I was in that situation, I would be happy and I wouldn't be too far different from that higher future amazing version of myself.
Beautiful. As we like to answer this question, you'll probably be looking into a mirror at the end of your journey. But Kristen, again, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we really truly hope that the audience has enjoyed this as much as we did, actually. And again, I just wanted to point out before we wrap up, if you'd like to listen to the first episode that we've done with Kristen approximately a year ago, it's going to be linked in the show notes. If you're interested to learn more about Kristen's journey, we dived a bit more the last time around. But now, Kristen, it's your chance to share any resources with our audience. What's your new podcast about? How is it called? Where can people find you and connect with you and all of that?
Yeah, so you can find me if you guys are interested in listening to my podcast. It's on Spotify and also on Apple Podcasts as well. It's if you just type in That Next Level Girl. And my podcast is, all of the episodes are around like 15 to 20 minutes long. They're all about leveling up business. A lot of them are about network marketing. So if you're in a network marketing business, definitely give them a listen. I'm very I share a lot of harsh truths. So if you are sensitive, you probably won't like my podcast because I really tell you how it is. And then you can also find me on Instagram as well with the same username at That Next Level Girl. And I share kind of IGTVs, meditations, top tips for manifesting, business. And again, I share a lot of harsh truths. So again, if you're sensitive to that, definitely don't follow me. But if you like that kick of the bum, if you like really leveling up and just getting out of your comfort zone, then definitely give me a follow on Instagram and listen to my podcast as well.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing. And again, people, if you want to get to the next level, you know what podcast you have to listen to from now on.
Exactly. Thank you so much, guys.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Yeah, thank you so much for listening, guys. And until next time, stay grateful. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sticking all the way till the end. This shows that you are serious about taking your life to the next level and doing that through a perspective of gratitude. If you enjoyed this interview, it would help us massively if you could give us a 5-star rating review on iTunes, or else share this on your stories and tag us. This way, with your help, our message will be seen by more people and together we will make this world a better place.